maybe even a little AI, into your middle school classroom.
Sounds familiar.
Well, get ready, because we are diving headfirst into Growbots kits.
From AVM Infotech, right?
You got it. And they're designed specifically with India's NEP 2020 goals in mind.
I've heard good things.
We've got all the info here, their brochures, curriculum details, even some stories from actual classrooms using these kits. We're going to see if Growbots can bring those 21st century skills front and center for your students.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Growbots has approached this. It's not just about handing you a box of parts. They're really thinking about how these tools fit into a bigger picture.
Okay, you got me curious.
Aligning their whole approach with these national education goals. Smart move, really. Shows they're thinking long term.
All right, well, I am intrigued. So let's break it down. Tell me, what are we even working with here? What are the kits themselves?
We've got two main options. Got the Growbots Robotics and ART kit. And then there's the Growbots Micro AI and Coding kit.
Two different options, okay.
And here's something I bet you'll appreciate. Both of these kits. They're designed to work with either metal or plastic construction sets.
Oh, now that is thinking about a real classroom.
Right.
Because it's not always easy to just switch between different systems,
Right.
But that flexibility, that means teachers can use what works best for their students, for their budget, all of that.
Absolutely. And schools, let's be real, they always have to make tough choices about spending.
Always.
So being able to use these kits with things they already have, that's huge. It just makes the whole thing, incorporating robotics and AI, so much more, sustainable.
And speaking of sustainable, let's talk about the big S word that makes every teacher's heart skip a beat. Time. How does Growbots support teachers who, let's face it, are incredibly busy?
Well, that's where their curriculum comes in. They've really tried to make it teacher-friendly.
Okay, good.
They have both 40-minute and 80-minute lesson plans.
Nice.
So, tight schedule or a little more wiggle room, they've got you covered.
That is music to my ears. But it's not just about different times for lessons. What about the content itself? What are these lessons actually like?
So the curriculum, they've got a very clear structure. It's progressive, starts with the basics in grade 6, and then by grade 8, they're doing much more complex projects.
Okay, now you got me hooked. What's an example? Like in 6th grade, what might a student be working on?
All right, so in grade 6, it's all about the fundamentals of robotics, the coding. One of the first projects they do is using IR sensors, infrared,
Right.
to program a robot to detect obstacles, and stop before hitting
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's not just, build a cool robot. That's getting kids to think about how these sensors are used in the real world. We're going in self-driving cars, automated systems, all of that.
Laying the groundwork, right. Understanding how technology actually interacts with, everything. And it gets, even more interesting as they move
So
up.
we're moving up to 7th grade. What's happening in 7th grade?
7th grade, they're diving into bot-to-bot communication using Bluetooth.
Whoa. So now the robots are talking to each other.
Imagine, students are programming 2 robots to actually interact. One sends a signal, the other one
that's
responds.
fantastic. So now we're not just talking about collaboration between students, but between machines. That's a whole other level of problem solving.
Absolutely.
All right, expert speaker, you can't leave me hanging. 8th grade. What are those 8th graders doing?
8th grade, it gets really, really cool. They're exploring AI. We're talking about students building robots that use AI vision to navigate mazes, complex ones. And they're avoiding obstacles in real time.
See, that's what blows my mind. It's not just a science fair project. That's using cutting-edge technology and applying it to a real-world scenario. But let's be honest, even with a great curriculum, introducing something like robotics and AI, it can be a little intimidating for teachers.
No,
So
for sure.
what does Growbots do to support those teachers?
Well, it seems
Okay,
like
good.
they get it. They understand that teachers need support.
Yes.
Which is absolutely critical, right? To make this work, to bring these technologies into the classroom you gotta support the teachers. And from what I've seen, they really go above and
I
beyond.
love that. When a company understands that supporting educators is just as important as the tech itself, give me details. What do they actually do?
Well, they offer training programs, first of all.
Okay, makes sense.
To get teachers comfortable, with the kits themselves, with the curriculum. And, get this, they've got something called a virtual master trainer video teaching mechanism.
Virtual master trainer. Okay, that sounds fancy. What is that? Is that like a personal AI tutor for teachers?
Well, I don't know about a full AI tutor, at least not yet, but from what I understand, it's basically like a huge library of videos, tutorials, all that, to guide teachers through those trickier parts of the curriculum.
Okay, so it's like having a robotics expert on call.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's not just like, here's how you do it either.
Okay.
They really get into why things work the way they do, explaining the coding, even giving you assessment tools and things like that.
That's huge. Seriously, having those resources ready to go. I mean, we're always being asked to do more with less time.
Always.
And I saw they also mentioned online competitions. What's the deal with those?
Oh, those are great for getting the kids really engaged, A little bit of competition can be a powerful motivator.
Oh, for sure.
And it gives them a chance to show off what they've learned, what they can do.
It's true. Those competitions, they can bring out the best in students. And speaking of real-world impact, I was really drawn to the success stories that Growbots highlight.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one thing to talk about all the things these kids can do.
Right.
But when you see them actually being used in a classroom and, making a difference, that's what's really powerful.
100%. There was this one case study that really stuck with me. It was about this school. They saw a huge jump in student engagement once they brought in the Growbots kits. And get this, they even said that their students' grades in STEM subjects went up too.
There you go. That's what we like to hear. That's what gets teachers excited, administrators, parents, everybody.
Tangible result.
Okay, before we get totally carried away here, I want to get back to the actual nuts and bolts, the kits themselves.
Okay,
what are we looking at? What's in the box?
All right, so let's start with that Growbots Robotics and AIoT kit. This one comes with a lot of stuff. It's got 12 different sensors, infrared sensors, temperature and humidity, even a soil moisture sensor.
Wait, hold on. A soil moisture sensor. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about all kinds of projects, plant care, sustainable agriculture, maybe even hydroponics. The possibilities are endless. What else is in this kit?
Well, I mean, what's a robot without a motor, right? So they've got bio motors, they've got wheels, chassis, the basics for building.
Got it.
Oh, and they include both RJ11 and JST connectors, so you've got that flexibility for connecting everything.
I am sensing a theme here. Flexibility is key, especially in the classroom, right? You need to be able to adapt. But let's talk coding. I know we've got some listeners out there, they might be new to all this programming stuff. What's the learning curve like with these kits?
So Growbots has gone with a block-based coding approach, which is super user-friendly, even for total beginners.
Oh, that's good to
It's
hear.
all visual, very drag and drop, It takes away a lot of the potential for those syntax errors that can trip people up when they're first learning to code.
Making it easy to learn is so important. So what languages does it support, this block-based coding?
Well, here's what's really great. It supports multiple languages. We're talking English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, really making it accessible for everyone.
Oh, I love that. Now, they mentioned in these materials over 100 possible projects you can build. That's amazing. Teachers can really pick and choose what works best for their students.
Exactly. It's like a whole library of ideas. And we haven't even talked about the Growbots Micro AI and Coding Kit. This one's all about AI.
Okay, now I'm really interested. Tell me more.
It's designed to make AI approachable, even for younger students.
And it comes with an AI vision
It's
sensor.
optional with this kit, but yes.
So we're talking about robots that can practically see
Pretty
now.
much. And what's really great is that Growbots gives you all the resources to teach this stuff. You don't have to be an AI expert yourself. They've got you covered.
That's so important. Do they have examples of specific projects for this
They do.
kit?
They've got examples for all of their kits. For example, with their Junior Robotics Construction Kit, students can build a staircase climber robot. Pretty cool, right?
A robot that can climb stairs. I bet my students would love that. That is really cool. Is there a video of this thing in action anywhere? I'd love to see how it handles different types of stairs.
I think I saw a link to their videos somewhere in these brochures.
Okay.
I'm sure they've got all sorts of demos. You can see what these kits can really do.
It sounds like we need to check that out. This is really exciting stuff. We're talking about giving students the tools to build the future.
Exactly. And with Growbots, they're not just dreaming about it, they're actually making it happen, one line of code at a time.
Speaking of building, we haven't even talked about the Growbots Nano Controller.
Oh yeah, the brains of the operation.
So every good robot needs a brain, right?
What can you tell me about this nano controller?
It's really the heart of the whole system. It's got a motor driver built in so it can control the robot's movement. rechargeable batteries, of course, got to keep things powered up. And it even has this little OLED display so students can see what's happening.
Very cool.
Plus, just like with the other kits, they've got those RJ11 and JST connectors, so you've got options for all the different sensors and things.
Grobots is all about flexibility, it seems. And for our listeners who are familiar with micro.bit, it looks like Grobots has something special with this Grobots Microbot. Oh yes, the Microbot. This little guy is great, especially for students who are ready for a bit more of a challenge with their coding.
Okay.
You can start with that block-based coding, using platforms like MakeCode, but then they can move on to text-based programming with Python.
So it grows with the students as they learn. I like that. What about the hardware? What comes with it?
Well, it wouldn't be a Grobots kit without a bunch of sensors, right? So it's got your IR sensors, ultrasonic sensor for measuring distance, even, wait for it, a soil moisture sensor.
They really want these kids to get their hands dirty, huh? Exploring the world around them, coming up with solutions. Love it. What else?
It's got a built-in motor driver, of course, so it can move around. And get this, there's even a connector for, drumroll please, the AI vision sensor.
Gotta have that AI.
Exactly. They've also got an OLED display, so you can get that real-time feedback from your robot.
So it's like a little computer on wheels. This is amazing. Now, for those who are ready to take it even further, there's the Microbot AI. What's the difference?
Well, as you might have guessed, this one comes with that AI vision sensor included. So now we're talking about robots that can recognize objects, track movement. They can even make decisions based on what they're seeing.
Rechargeable batteries, of course, got to keep things powered up. And it even has this little OLED display so students can see what's happening. Plus, just like with the other kits, they've got those RJ11 and JST connectors, so you've got options for all the different sensors and things.
It really is. And what's impressive is that Grobots gives you all the tools you need to teach this stuff. You don't have to be an expert yourself. They've thought of everything.
It sounds like it. It's really incredible to see what they've put together here. It's not just about learning to code or building a robot. It's about encouraging a whole new generation to think differently, to solve problems, to be creative.
And that's what it's all about, right? Giving them the tools and then watching them go.
Exactly. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Grobots, we want to leave you with this. What will your students build?
I've heard good things.
The possibilities are truly endless.